Hey, what's up, Dean? Sear Performance at the shop. And we got a new one. We still got the Nova up on the lift, but in the meantime, the drive shaft's going to be a couple of days, unfortunately, before we get that back. People are yelling. But everything's hooked up on it, so all I have left is to make the adjustment to the detent cable. You cannot see, but it's actually in the bracket, and I have the stud on the carburetor. You might be able to see it. Yep, right there. And then I tightened up the spring as well, so that little brass collar right there is what tightens on the cable to stop it from moving. So that's all I got left, but I was hoping to get the drive shaft back a little sooner, but not going to. That's okay. Oh. Here we go. What are we doing? So we got Jim's Galaxy. This is the transmission builder. He did the 4L80 that's hiding behind the Traverse motor right there. He did Wood's 4L80 for his big truck. He did Jeff's 4L80 and the Trailblazer, which works awesome. So a huge thanks to him for being who he said he is and building good transmissions. His guy Tony actually is the one that builds them. He's got two Tonys. He's got New Tony and Big Tony. But anyways, he is the gray Chevelle with the black stripes that I wired the entire car. Has a Holly Dominator and LS, and got it running for him and driving. And him and his wife Sharon absolutely enjoy the car. So it makes me feel good when things work out like that. But this is his Galaxy, and he doesn't get to enjoy it as much. Has hard start. There was something else. But the main thing is like a hard start. Like it cranks slow and it just doesn't start unless you hose it with brake clean. And yesterday, that's what I experienced, other than the fact that on the dashboard, there is a toggle switch. I guess he picked this car up from like an old school gearhead. So you got the key, which you have to turn the power to the car on. And I did not know you have this little toggle switch that actually turns the ignition on. So yeah, it was fun to learn. I cranked on the car for about 20 minutes, and no, it doesn't start. Even with the toggle switch on, it won't start. And the reason is, if you look at the two Edelbrock carbs, you can see all that yellow over here. You can see all the flaking. I wiped a lot of that off. But here's the plungers for an Edelbrock carb. They sit right in the front, and they do not work. You could see that squirter right there? I'm trying to move the throttle. It does not squirt. I don't, in either carb, neither one of them squirt. So that is why he's not getting the car to start without brake clean, because it can't pull enough vacuum cranking over to just fire up and start. So that was the first thing I noticed. Then I started looking at the wiring, because it's what I do. And I noticed there's just mistakes. This is overheated copper. So when you heat like a lug or a terminal end or something, you get it to the point where the solder melts, and you jam the wire in, and then you cool it real quick. That's cool. You know, you can do that. Takes a little bit of skill to do that. But when you do this, when you shove that wire in and then heat the lug, you see how the copper inside is black. It's basically destroyed. You're overheating the copper. I don't know all the technical stuff to it, but I know you overheat the copper and it just takes away from its ability to conduct electricity. The solenoid, you could tell, has been heated up. Just by the way it is. It's darkened and everything. Then the ground cable came over to the frame. Then it had that cable there from the frame all the way up to the bottom bolt hole on the water neck. So the issue I have with that is the water neck bolt, right, goes into the water neck. That's chrome, so it's plated. Then there's a gasket between the water neck and the plated intake. So and then the intake has plating with gaskets and bolts into the heads, which sits, on a gasket. Obviously, I just said that. So then the head, keep going. Then the head sits on a gasket and the bolt goes through the head. So you're just not getting a good connection through multiple points of connections. I don't know how better to describe that, but you lose conductivity, whatever the word is. You lose that through multiple joints of engine parts or whatever. Grounds are meant to go really like direct to block. Then off the block, you can go to the firewall, the inner fender, the fender, frame, whatever you want. Or you can come off the battery and go to all those different points. That's typically why you see like a ground, like even this one had it. You can see right there, they just nipped it off because why use it? You'll get that secondary little wire to go up to like the fender or the inner fender or the core support. Me personally, I would have gone right here to the core support. That's what these star washers from the factory are. You can kind of see there's a star washer. Those were meant to like grip the paint and kind of grind it off and get you into bare metal. So I changed that. I took that cable off the frame, took this off. Here's the bolt, actually. Took this main cable off, and I went down. Yeah, there it is. You can see it. You can see it. Down, under, and can't see it. Can't see it. Dang it. There we go. Creepy in here. And I went to the motor mount bolt. A Ford block does not have a lot of bolt holes. That is a big bolt. So I didn't want to drill the end of the lug because you lose a lot of metal and it would have been very thin. So you see there's no other bolt hole on a Ford block. Yep, there's a cable wrapped around that motor mount. So I went to the motor mount. Now that has a good ground. I also took my little whiz wheel, the little Milwaukee whiz wheel, and kind of went on the motor mount and kind of ground it down a little bit so it's a little more bare metal. So I kind of did that, and then something I found kind of strange is all these wires. This red one here is going over to the Summit CDI box. And it makes big sparks. Occasionally it'll make a big spark, almost, I don't know why. Then there's this little red wire that I believe, as best I could find, goes, it's this one. It goes up under everything, goes over there, then it loops up into all of that. It looks like it still continues across to over there, and then there's that pile of mess. I don't know where it goes, but it also makes sparks. When I did have the car running, I noticed the alternator wasn't charging, so that's good. But the other issue I have is you have the main positive cable that runs down to the firewall, then back, and it loops around and then up to the starter solenoid. Then the other side of the solenoid goes down to the starter. Not ideal, especially when the cable is a little bit of a smaller cable and it's been burnt to a crisp. So explains the cable's getting hot while you try to crank it and slow crank. I think that explains why it has a slow crank, is just the miles of wire, bad ground, things like that. Because the starter does need a ground, and the block is the starter's ground. So if it's trying to ground through multiple points and it's losing, you lose ohms, which is conductivity. I don't know, but it messes it up. Bunch of wires hanging around everywhere. This one kind of goes underneath the booster and then dives into the firewall. Another one coming out that goes up to 2 wires for the CDI and the distributor, which is probably Keon. Which I don't think it'll matter too much with that. But just a pile of wires coming out everywhere, going who knows where. So I got to try and sort through some of that. So I said, okay, let me look, see what's going on in the car. These are always fun. Now, this is an old car, and it had a bunch of work done, but it did not get all of the work. And then all of a sudden, I was like, oof, here we go. So you just got a pile of wires coming in. We've got a pile of wires going just everywhere. I don't know what's going on. It's very scary. Most of it is original, which is cool. It's got like the cloth sheathing on it. I like that it's all original. It doesn't look like the original was butchered on too much, but I can't really tell. I didn't really start to look at too much. But it's just scary. And then over there, you see the red handle right there. That's the battery disconnect. I haven't gone to that side of the car, but I do see a couple of things hanging down and connected. Looks like for the radio, which is fine. I'm not going to mess with none of that stuff. Haven't looked in here. Nothing. So I'm not sure what's what under here, other than a speaker that is attached to, a speaker that's attached to the console with one screw. It's probably how Jeff installs speakers at the place he works, but don't tell me I told you that. So I gotta start sorting through all this wiring. He's texting me now. I don't think he cares about the toggle switch, so I'm gonna get rid of that. I don't think he cares about the disconnect. There's no point in either one of them. I don't know if it's for anti-theft type of thing, old school. You shut the ignition off and car won't start. Over there, you can shut the battery off. So you really got to figure out, what to do to get this car to start. But it's a super clean car, nice big comfy bench. I had to be reupholstered at some time, I would imagine. This interior was redone. It is a convertible, and the top is like super nice on the car. I would imagine this was all redone at some point. Car looks really, really solid. I think it's a 67, 66. Not sure. Galaxie 500. Motor's got some work done to it. It's got aluminum heads, dual carbs. I'm not a fan of dual carbs, but you know, it gives it a look. They cut the hood and they got one of the like oval air cleaners that sits on top that goes on both carbs. Oh, it's right there. With a couple of risers. Oh, whoops. A couple of risers that somebody made, so it makes it stand up. Kind of gives it a tunnel ram kind of look without being a tunnel ram. The old school Sun Pro tack, like, it's definitely a cool car. It's very, very clean car. It was done. I think the guy that he got the car from passed away at some point, but the car was definitely cared for. Because I believe that gentleman did all of the work himself, or the majority of the work himself. So I don't know if these are original. These almost look original because they got a couple of little sags and stuff. But I mean, this car is in really good shape. Needs to be cleaned up, detailed. Little things need to be, you know, attached. I don't know how any of this. Oh, there's a screw in the front. There's got to be another screw, right? Everything was held together with screws. Oh yeah, a couple screws in the back. So one screw's missing. Yeah, one screw's missing from right there. That holds that up. Not a big deal. Oh, actually, here it is. So it's not missing. It's just not in. So I'll try and slide the seat forward and sneak it in there with a short screwdriver. Get this to attach so it's not flopping around anymore on them. I haven't opened the other door. I can't open the other door. I got no room. But super clean car. Super nice. I'm going to start kind of going through some of the wiring stuff. I mean, like, they just got weird grounds. You know, you came all the way up to here. I don't know why. It's ugly. To begin with, it's ugly, and it's not doing you any favor being way up here other than accessibility, which, who cares? It's a ground. Like, you could hide it somewhere, you could put it somewhere. Just, there's no reason to have it there. I'm just trying to find out where it goes. It looks like it goes under the booster. Who knows? Probably runs all the way across the car. But yeah, I am going to start pulling the battery cables out. He just texted me back. He doesn't care about the disconnect, doesn't care about that. So I'm actually going to pull the cables off the disconnect down in there. Hopefully I can get them. Should be able to. Hopefully I can get them. Yeah, I should be able to get those. I'll pop those off, figure out what that other red wire is that's going to the battery, and I will shorten the one cable to this side of the solenoid, eliminate the other cable, start figuring out all of these wires. I may, if there's so many wires that it just piles up on here and looks like crap, I may do like one of the little junction block dealios. I don't know, I thought I had one right here. Yeah, I do. I mean, this is a black one, but one of these, you know, and just come off the battery with a separate positive cable over to this, and then on the other side I can attach all his other power wires. If all of those wires run back, which it looks like the majority of them all run back, I may just put the block over here. Excuse me. I may put the block, like, try to use some of the factory bolt holes, put the block over here and run a battery cable through the front and over. That's a pool noodle. I'm almost thinking that's a pool noodle or water heater foam, like a plumber's pipe. Yep, that's plumber's pipe wrap. Cool. Wires will stay warm. That's nice. Anyways, so I'm going to start getting all these wires pulled off, figure out what's what, and go from there. Alright, so I'm in the car, and I'm tracing out wires, and that one there pokes through under the heater box, actually goes to an amp under the seat. Then one of the other wires goes out the firewall, direct to battery is for the radio, and then it runs, I would assume, the volts gauge and powers all the gauges. But, well, no, it can't power all the gauges. Goes to the voltmeter. Yeah, one was direct battery. It was marked yellow right here. Somebody actually took the time. That one's red. And then this other tag up here, you see, right there, is marked yellow. And it goes to the yellow radio wire. And the other one goes to the red radio wire. I can't remember if yellow is battery or if red is battery. But, so then this wire that I just pulled through is the one that was wrapped up on the driver's fender, not connected to anything. And I traced it over to here, and then it comes up, goes in, and just stabs into the heater fuse. That is your fuse box on an old car, and you can see the top is heater. That one there is radio. Then you have instrument panel, which I think is the tiny fuse. Emergency warning, and I think it says dome. Pretty sure that last one says dome. Yep, dome. That's all the fuses that I can find right now. But I gotta get this one out of here because we're not leaving that. There's no point in leaving a wire that does nothing. Oh boy. Yeah. But they made a custom aluminum dash insert instead of buying a cardboard one. You know, did a little chew on it and stuff, but that's all right. It's a cool idea. It's definitely a cool idea. But this is not, you don't just put wires and leave them. Take them back out. I don't know who did this, whose idea this was, but it's not a great one. Please go through there. That terminal might not go through there, but the other one for the radio, it comes out and goes over, so it might actually be the radio power. I just don't know why they stabbed it in like that. And my other question is, did they stab it into the right side of the fuse so it's actually fused, or is it on the actual power side so it'd be an unfused circuit? It's kind of funny, some of the things that I find, and then just makes it really weird. But I am going to fight with this wire. Apparently this little terminal does not want to come through this hole, so apparently this is why you leave wires extra long, because then you can pull it to the back seat and crimp your terminal on. There we go. There we go. Yep. So I got that one out. Now I'll have to probably rip half the wiring out while I pull on it. Yeah. I'll tell you what. There it comes. No, it'd be nice. There we go. So there's another wire eliminated. Throw that up there. And then this. What are we doing? This one here is the other one that's stabbed in to the radio wire fuse, radio fuse. I cannot tell where it goes. Can't see. Okay, so it's this one. Comes across. Okay, so it goes to the, I believe, the voltmeter. It's a wire nut. It's for the lights, I guess. Then they have another red wire coming off for the freaking radio. You gotta love it. Another wire nut. Okay. Yep. Mm-hmm. So this is radio battery. Yeah, yellow is battery, red must be the ignition. Wonder if that's right. I'll have to look up a radio. I don't know if that's right. And they usually have them on the bottom of the radios. But can't see if it's on there. No, not on there. And there's a tag right there, but I don't see it. Use the goggle. Yeah, it's right there. I can't read it. So I'll have to Google it and make sure that these are right. Because maybe that's why it's drawn power, because those might be backwards. Yeah. So I also I got the two wires pulled from over there all the way back. One of them is that radio wire. I don't know what the other one is yet. I have to find it. I think the thinner one is the radio, and the thicker one, I don't know yet. I also have no idea what this wire is. Comes over, it was kind of stuffed and hiding, but it goes to here. So it tied two wires to it. So they're feeding direct battery into this. I would assume, yeah, here's the two wires right here in the plug. Those must go over that way. Maybe, or they went onto the motor. And they had another connection. I'll have to look into this and see exactly what this stuff is. I wonder if this is the ignition. If the other two, that must be what it is. Those are the toggle switch. So I need to find my coil source. Oh, here's another one. What is this? I don't know what that is. It's hard and crusty. And it goes into the harness, doesn't it? Yeah, that goes into the harness. No idea what that is. Super hard and crusty, though. Another one? What are you, little fella? I don't know what that one is. Okay. So what is this big ground going to? Oh. Okay, so this ground that's up here comes across everything and just goes to this aluminum plate. Yeah, we're gonna be getting rid of that. That was another thing too, is the return springs on the front carb. They made this little plate, but it doesn't stay in position. So I have to address that, which I would assume you'd just be able to take these springs and stretch them over to this gnarly throttle cable bracket. That's what that is. That's the throttle cable bracket. Oh, okay. This is what we're doing in life. Tugs out on an angle. Why wouldn't you tug the throttle from back here? Oh boy. Or no, isn't that? No. What the hell? This must be for the transmission. Ow. Broken jaw. Yep. This goes down to the transmission. So that's, I don't know, kick down or whatever on a Ford. I don't know Ford stuff. But yeah, I'm going to have to, I'll probably swap these two baby springs with a normal spring and attach it to this bracket. Yeah, I am going to figure out how to make the ignition work on the key. He doesn't care about the toggle switch, but I mean, there's no reason for all this wire everywhere. So maybe I'll try to look up this plug. Let's see if I can figure out what these 5 wires in a 4-prong plug. So 2 of them must be the same. These reds must be basically the same. Maybe. Nope. Looks like a yellow. Listen. I don't know. But I'll look that up. See if I can't figure out how to get the ignition to work on the key. Oh boy. Yep. Well, no, that would have to be the other side. What the hell? Yeah, I'm thoroughly confused now. I don't know what this red wire is. That can't be the other side of the toggle switch, because this is... Where'd it go? This one here should be the other side of the toggle switch, because that's coming to feed the distributor and the CDI. So this is one side. This is the battery side of that toggle switch. And then this is the ignition side. So what the hell is this for? I gotta figure this out. Alright, let me figure this out. Alright, so let me show you where we're at. I have the old battery cable connected to the solenoid, cut down. It's this one with a new lug on it, and heat shrink, fancy, whatever. Then the new alternator wire, which the alternator needs to be replaced, but I can still use it. You can see it's a much heavier gauge than the original one. This is the one that was on there. Let me see if I can slide it down in there. And side by side, you can see it's probably double the gauge. This is like a 10, I think. I believe this is like a 10, but also when I pulled it off, that to me looks melted. It's been there a while, but it looks melted by the way you could kind of see the wrinkle in it and the way it's shrunk down, and then the wire itself is exposed in those 2 little divots right there. So that's not good. And this doesn't look, I mean, this wasn't anywhere near a belt or anything like that. So, I mean, it could be rubbing, could have done it, but to me, the way it's shrunk, you can kind of see how it's like shrunk. It almost looks like a twist. To me, that looks like this wire got really, really hot and overheated. So here's my pile of wire so far. But I got these 2 cables on, shortened, all of that. All that stuff's out. That's the amp wire for the amp under the seat. Kind of debating on what to do with that. I'm most likely going to pull it back through because it's in a really bad hole that I don't know if I can get down in there. Yeah, you can kind of see it's just through a hole in the firewall, which is really bad to do because that will cut the wire. So I'm thinking pull it back through, cut off that. This is a fuse holder. This is a fuse holder, and they shoved a circuit breaker in it, which it's a 30 amp circuit breaker, and this is probably a 20 amp fuse holder. Unfortunately, it doesn't say it on there, but it's probably a 20 amp fuse holder. And again, when you crimp wires, What you don't want to do is break a bunch of the strands, because it just weakens the wire, makes it carry less voltage, amps, whatever. So I'm probably going to clip this off right here, because this is a heavier gauge wire. Even though it's the same size, you could tell there's more copper strand in this wire than there is in this cheap wire. So I'm going to clip it off, drag it back through. I ordered a fuse relay panel. It's a 6-circuit panel. It's pretty neat. It's all pre-wired. I'm hoping it has an ignition and battery trigger. And my plan is to mount that over here. I also have, and I know it's black, but I also have this cable ran through the insulation stuff out over here, down there, and then it comes over, and I just have it stubbed right there. I gotta crimp a lug onto the end of it, and that's gonna feed this kind of bus bar, which I'm thinking to mount kind of right here, and then have the fuse panel over there, or I may switch it and mount this over there, or maybe mount the fuse panel down there so it's a little more hidden. Then of course, while I was looking at this, I noticed the pregnancy of wire, which is what we call it. I call it anyways. It's just a massive bundle of wire for your distributor. This is literally the only 2 wires in this entire bundle. You don't need them. You're not running it doesn't have a ready to run distributor. So ready to run means it's like, I can't remember. It has whatever in it, like a magnetic pickup. I think that's what I'm looking for. I believe this one's not a magnetic pickup. It's an inductive pickup. I can't remember, but it doesn't work with this type of plug. This is more like an MSD type plug. So you don't need this. It just looks messy. It looks messy. So I am going to clip these wires. I'll probably actually take them out of the MetroPack and just throw them to the side, basically leave them. If anybody ever wants to put them back in, you can put them back in. I don't care. It's pretty easy to do. You just match the colors. There's purple and green on this side. You match purple and green on this side. So I'll end up taking that out, get rid of that big lump. And then tomorrow the fuse panel shows up, but I won't have it here. It'll be too late in the day, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. I just got off the phone with Jim. We're just going to get everything, rebuild the carbs, get the wiring stuff cleaned up and done. I have the battery on the charger, and it still is charging. It's been on there all day. It's pulling low amps, but it's pulling amps. So it tells me there's like a dead cell in the battery or a shorted cell or whatever it is. So there's an issue there. I also have to find, this is a fusible link wire, just like this one. This is like the factory. This is actually a built-in fuse in a sense. I have to find whatever amperage fusible link this is, because this is supposed to be also attached to this post of the starter solenoid. So crimping it on to crimping it on to a fuse holder, fine. I get it if you can't do that. Again, I can't even get it open. Like, they smashed Mahaya. They smashed another circuit breaker into it instead of a fuse. I don't know why you would do that. I just don't know why. I guess it'll reset itself. I don't know. But yeah, you could see that's a pretty hefty gauge, and these are just, if I remember correct, these are like 12 gauge wire. So it's not right. And then, you know, crispy burning it is just dumb. You know, that's not how you do it. So throw all that away. I don't know where that one goes. I'll try and find a harness diagram, but I assume this goes. It actually does. It starts to go and then it goes inside that harness and comes across the car. So this is going to be one of the main feeds into the car for ignition or whatever. So I'll get that sorted out, get whatever piece ordered for that, tug this wire back in, feed it out this side over here. It'll clean up a little more out here, one less wire than just got factory wires. The electric choke, I almost think this is our ignition wire for distributor. So that's what I think. I won't be able to test that until I get the battery reconnected and the key on. So I need to get that this wire here connected. I mean, I could just temporarily connect it and check, but I have a weird feeling that this is going to be our ignition wire. Just have to see if it holds when you turn the key on, because I don't see anything cut inside the harness other than that one plug with the two wires. Those two wires led to this red wire here, which then goes to this red wire. It comes across, and it's this red wire here. So it could be that that's our ignition wire. I'm not sure. But I don't think in the 60s, 67, I don't think they had electric choke. Don't think they did. Yeah, a couple things left to sort out. Anyways, rambling, blah, blah. That's it for this one. Appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, leave me a comment, all that good stuff. Have a good day.